Okay, so
Oh,
you know that feeling,
oh yeah.
that specific white-hot rush when something just completely mundane happens. Maybe a driver cuts you off without looking,
Hmm.
or, a colleague makes that subtle sarcastic jab that just, it hits a little too close to home.
Right.
And suddenly, it's not just an annoyance. It feels like a total ambush.
It is. That tiny little thing doesn't just irritate you, it completely hijacks your emotional state.
And your whole day is just gone.
Exactly. It's that feeling of being involuntarily powerless. And that's really our starting point for this deep dive.
Okay.
Because what our sources show is this central, really empowering truth. Those emotional responses, those triggers, they're not just random lightning
They're
strikes.
patterns.
They deeply etched patterns. We call it the hotwired state.
Yeah.
It's a response that, it bypasses the logical part of your brain and goes straight to your nervous system.
And because they are patterns, they can be broken.
Mm.
So that's what we're going to do today. A kind of self-check. The framework is built on ideas from cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT,
Mm.
which basically proves that we can lower that reactivity by just spotting these automatic thoughts.
Spotting them and then challenging them in real time.
So as we walk through a few high-stress scenarios, just kind of keep a mental score for yourself.
Yeah, think on a scale from 1 to 5. A 1 is that immediate, explosive reaction.
And a 5 is the calm, grounded response. Be honest with yourself here, because this is all about diagnosis. It's not about judgment.
Exactly. It's about awareness. And we should say up front, deeply rooted trauma-based triggers that require specialized support. This is for that everyday emotional friction that just grains your energy.
Right, okay, let's unpack this. Let's start mapping the terrain. So
Okay.
section 1, the anatomy of a trigger. Let's start with those external stressors, the little stings that somehow feel huge.
Mm.
So scenario 1, a coworker, maybe even a friend, makes a sarcastic comment, and it genuinely stings. If your immediate default is that one-point move, you snap back instantly.
Yeah.
With something even sharper, you escalate.
Right. But what's really fascinating is the middle ground. What's the difference between, say, a 2 and a 3?
Question.
The 2-point person, they go quiet, but then they replay that comment in their head for the rest of the day. They're just stewing.
So it's simmering.
Yes. The 3-point person might laugh it off on the outside, they look fine, but internally they feel that hurt and just let it churn.
So both are internalizing the harm,
Mm.
but one just hides it better.
Exactly.
So what separates all of that from the grounded 5-point choice?
The 5-point choice isn't about ignoring the sting. It's about 3. It's about getting to your thinking brain faster than your reactive brain. The 5-point person relabels that comment internally as just noise, not data.
Noise, not data. I like that.
They can shrug it off, knowing it's almost always a reflection of the other person's bad mood, not some objective truth about them. You resist that urge to defend your ego.
Okay, let's switch gears. A physical trigger. Traffic. A driver just aggressively cuts you off.
Oh, a classic.
The default 1-point reaction is immediate escalation. You slam the horn, you yell, maybe throw your hands up, you let that adrenaline just flood your system.
And that's catastrophic thinking right there. That's
Right.
a classic cognitive distortion we see in CBT. You're assuming malice. They did this to me.
When it was probably just they were distracted.
Sloppiness, distraction, yeah. And that biological spike can hijack your body for hours.
So what's the mechanism of the pause here? How do you stop that?
It's the ability to inject a 5-second delay. That's the 4-point response. In those few seconds, you take a deep breath. You remind yourself it's just not worth it. It's not worth ruining your peace.
And that simple decision breaks the cycle. You
Right.
physically disconnect the emotional trigger from the fight or flight response.
Precisely.
Okay, let's move from external noise to the really high-stakes triggers. Interpersonal disappointment. A close friend cancels plans last minute. A 1 or 2 score here is immediate accusation or passive-aggressive withdrawal. You make it mean that you aren't important.
Or let's talk about the biggest button pusher of all. Criticism from relatives.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. We often revert to, our childhood patterns here. A parent criticizes how you're doing something. The 1-point snapback is, why don't you just do it yourself then?
Right. It's that immediate shield.
An immediate shield against feeling inadequate.
Family triggers are just the worst. The stakes feel so much higher. So is the high-level response just being polite, or is there more to it?
It's about being grounded. The 5-point response is maintaining your own autonomy without starting a fight. You can calmly say something like, I appreciate the input, but I'd like to try it my way.
So you acknowledge them, you validate the relationship.
But you hold your boundary. You're choosing connection over defensiveness, but not not at the cost of your own self-respect.
That ability to stay grounded is so key in a heated argument at home. The automatic extremes are either shouting louder, the one-point move,
Or the opposite, shutting down completely. The 2-point move, withdrawing. Both are just avoidance.
so what's the better choice?
De-escalation. The high-level choice is recognizing the heat and choosing a pause. I need a short break so I can respond calmly. That's not withdrawal. It's an active choice to stop the emotional contamination.
So you can get your prefrontal cortex back online.
You got it.
Okay, last trigger in this section. Feeling unimportant. You're sharing something meaningful, and the person you're talking to is clearly on their phone.
Painful.
The default one-point reaction is that sharp comment. Are you even listening to me?
Accusatory, yeah. The high-level response is the opposite of that. It's gently stating your need, clearly.
Using eye language.
Yes. The 5-point response, hey, I'd love your full attention for a minute. This is important to me. You communicate your need without making them the villain.
That's a perfect lead-in to the next step. So far, we've been talking about defense. But once you stop that emotional bleeding, the next step is being proactive.
Right. Structuring your relationship so those triggers just don't fire as often. That's the huge shift from reaction to proactivity. So let's talk about expressing needs. So many people just use unhealthy approaches because, well, they never learned any other way.
Right.
The lowest level choice is aggressive demands. I want this now. But almost as damaging is that 2 or 3-point simmerer approach.
Where you just don't express needs at all.
You just drop vague hints and secretly hope other people will magically figure out what you want.
Which is a recipe for disappointment because people are terrible mind readers. And then the simmerer feels resentful for needs they never even said out loud.
Exactly. The goal is that 4 or 5-point communication. Clear, respectful, and flexible.
Flexibility is a big one.
It is key. You express what you need, but you also stay curious about the other person. You prioritize a solution over just being right.
And that curiosity is so important when someone disagrees with you strongly. The default, that one-point pattern, is you just double down. You try to convince them you're right because the disagreement itself feels like a threat.
Or, the other side of that, the passive choice is backing down completely just to avoid tension, pretending you agree.
When you don't.
Right. The truly trigger-proof approach, the 5-point perspective, is staying genuinely curious. You get that different perspectives don't threaten your own reality. It's not a battleground.
Okay, but what about the ultimate test? When you're the one who messes up,
Yeah.
you unintentionally hurt someone.
Yeah, handling harm.
If you score a 1, your response is immediate defensiveness, justification.
Yeah.
You're prioritizing protecting your ego over their pain.
And we've all seen that lukewarm 3-point apology. Sorry you feel that way.
Ugh, that's not an apology.
It's a deflection. The real 5-point response, it's about seeing the mistake as data, not a moral failure. You do 3 things.
Okay.
You apologize sincerely. You actively work to repair the harm. And you reflect on how to make sure it doesn't happen again. That comprehensive approach is what builds trust.
So if you've been keeping score across all those scenarios, go ahead and tally up your points. This is where we get to that aha moment.
This is where we define your current emotional archetype.
Okay.
So if your score lands somewhere between, say, 10 and 19 points, you are the hot-wired reactor.
So your triggers pretty much run the show.
They often do. Small things hijack your peace. Emotions come out fast and strong, and you find yourself apologizing later. But the good news is, now you know where the leaks are. Recognition is step 1.
Okay, what if you scored between 20 and 29?
You are the silent simmerer. You don't explode outwardly, but you hold it all in.
And that's arguably more damaging internally.
It's a huge psychological burden. All that tension, anxiety, it piles up. The core remedy for this group is learning to express needs directly, even though it feels terrifying. It's a true act of self-care.
Or what about 30 to 39 points?
That's the self-reflector in progress. You're noticing the patterns. You're consciously trying to choose your response sometimes, but maybe consistency isn't there yet.
But you're practicing the tools. You're seeing glimmers of success.
Exactly. You're making a conscious effort. Now, the ideal, achievable target for most people is 40 to 45 points. The balanced boundary setter.
You handle triggers with clarity and calm?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right. You know how to speak up without blowing up, and this is critical. You know when to just let trivial things slide. It's not worth your energy. This is where patterns truly become conscious choices.
And finally, the top tier, 46 to 50 points.
The trigger-proof master. You rarely let someone else's behavior hijack your inner peace. It doesn't mean you don't feel things.
No, you still feel the frustration.
Of course. But you refuse to let those emotions run the engine of your life. You stay calm, you stay curious, all while protecting your boundaries. And that's the critical distinction, isn't it? Everyone gets triggered. It's part of being human. The real question is just, do those involuntary patterns run your life?
Yeah, and growth isn't about getting it perfect or never feeling upset. It's about getting better, one pause at a time. Every single time you reflect instead of just reacting, it all counts. It's breaking that old cycle.
And when you choose that response over the automatic reaction, you're not just calming the moment. You are actively, piece by piece, reclaiming your life.
So here's the thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
Think about one small, repeated reactive cycle you noticed in yourself today. Just one. What if you just committed to adding a 5-second pause before you speak or act in that one specific scenario? That simple pause, that's where all the power is.